know what the red pill is this view that argues traction is driven by biology and status and fertility, confidence, survival instincts. Hi guys, welcome back. My name's Alexander Santos, and today we're gonna be discussing the topic of red pill. What red pill is, what the whole deal about it is nowadays, and why it's really difficult for people to accept that this is how life is. So, the view of red pill when it relates to relationships, it's a difficult worldview for many people to accept, often because modern society promotes a different set of views and morals relating to like equality, romance, and dating and an emotional connection. So we see these views conflicting with the views that we ascribe in the red pill is. And it's difficult for a lot of people, and that's fine. So what the red pill is this view that argues attraction is driven by biology and status and fertility, confidence, survival instincts instead of idealistic concepts, which is how we see relationships nowadays. Like we tend to value love, and somehow love is supposed to be beyond everything. Is supposed to be beyond our biology, beyond reality, beyond what our real desires are deep down. And red pill is this view that subscribes to reality as it is. Biology, love, romance, everything as it is. No wishy-washy, no nothing, no doing anything to hide the reality of what it really means to be in a relationship, to want certain things and how they function. And I know a lot of people dislike these ideas because they often feel like they're harsh, they're hard to understand, and people don't want to accept them. They think they're like cynical or reductionist, especially when discussing like the differences between men and women. People get caught up in that, and they don't want to accept reality as it is. And it's understandable with the views that we have nowadays and how the world is functioning today, but it doesn't take from it that they are views based on biology, based on psychology, based on human behavior. And what happens often today is that we subscribe to a view that's not realistic. Those are the views that we have nowadays, and they're not realistic. They don't match the world how it is, and it tends to create a lot of problems. I know a lot of people argue that red pill communities simplify human behavior, or that we encourage gender differences, or that we promote like unhealthy stereotypes. It promotes unhealthy stereotypes, and that is not the case. I see why somebody could see it that way. The reality is the simplicity, for example, the simplicity of the human behavior, it's already there. It simply has to be seen as it is. It is not that red pill communities, people who subscribe to these views, that they want to simplify genders and promote unhealthy stereotypes. It's simply that those stereotypes and those differences in gender are something you can become aware of by seeing the world as it is. It's easy to see how these views align with the world when you see patterns in traditional dating and things that get ignored in dating nowadays, things that get overlooked, things that are really important or no one wants to accept, they overlook them. And what this view of red pill, what red pill means, is seeing these views, not ignoring reality, not ignoring these things that modern society has come to ignore, has come to stand against simply because they're not what they want them to be. If they want to create a different reality than what reality actually is, they want to change reality. Another thing is these views, red pill views, they align more with the reality of structures, and they function better than any other relationship dynamics. Often a lot of people just want to pretend that you can work a relationship any way, anyhow, and somehow it's going to function over time. And what this red pill does, it offers people the structure based in biology, based in the world and statistics and everything around you, to offer that structure on how to live and how to date, how to have a relationship. Red pill beliefs draw from evolutionary psychology, which, if you look at, it shows behavior that is that evolved over thousands, hundreds of thousands of years to what they currently are. When these views subscribe to these evolutionary psychology view, so what evolutionary psychology shows us is that the views that red pill view of relationships seems to function in a way that aligns with evolutionary psychology. The mating behavior, certain things men do, women do, that we see every day in our relationships are results from that evolution, from many thousands of years of survival and reproduction pressures and stuff like that. A lot of the arguments include things like men historically valuing fertility and physical attractiveness in women, women historically valuing protection, resources, confidence, and social status, competition between males and other men. And this hypergamy theory, the claim that people tend to seek partners with higher perceived value or stability. And you can see this in everyday life, I would argue. Men often look for women who look a certain way. They have to have these certain physical attributes. Their body has to look this way or that way, and it has to be attractive, and it might change a little over time due to evolution or culture, but men usually seek those aspects of women physically that attract them. And for women, you can see women who usually look for men who have higher status, who have more money, who maybe owns a company, who owns a house and many cars and makes this much money a year. It's normal for women to look for that, and we see it every day. Women look for those things, and what we usually see is also there's usually men who compete for women. That is part of that evolution for mating and for securing relationships over time. And this hypergamy theory, we all, no matter who it is, look for partners that we perceive to be of higher value compared to any other options we may have. And what you see is that these patterns are observable, like across culture, across history. That's why we say that they are biologically rooted. They, over time, we've seen them play out in the way that they do. One of the reasons these views are, I already mentioned this, but I want to go more into detail about this. And one of the reasons why all these views are controversial, these ideas are controversial, is because they conflict with values nowadays, you know, that emphasize things like emotional vulnerability or partnership or equality and individuality. And we don't value traditional roles anymore, gender roles anymore, which I think is a loss to every single one of us, because keeping those roles allows society to run a lot better, a lot easier. When we deviate from those roles, we get what we have in today's society. And it doesn't change the reality that biology won't change. For example, men are still stronger than women, no matter whether our current society wants to say that women and men are just as strong, that a woman can come up to a man and fight him and win somehow, that women can do the hard work men do in construction and oil, electricity, anything. That is not how reality functions, and we lie to ourselves. Modern society lies to everyone, and it complicates things because Running things the traditional way would keep everything easier, functioning better, by simply people telling each other the truth of how reality functions, on how things function. At the end of the day, red pill ideas, the red pill aligns with reality. It can be seen as pessimistic, but it empowers realism. It doesn't lie about reality. It doesn't lie about how the world functions, how biology functions. When we lie to ourselves, we get to the point where we're at today, in 2026. We get to the point where we're lying to ourselves about how men and women are equal, how all these biological differences aren't real, how women are somehow as smart as men, stuff like that. And it is a lie, and it's ruining society. And this topic is even more important now that a lot more people are not subscribing to it, exactly because of that. A lot less people are subscribing to the ideas, to the red pill ideas, and a lot less people are subscribing to traditional roles, which, in my opinion, from what we see every day, from just evidence in our daily life, in our world, we are going downhill. I mean, social media, most people in social media tend to go against these red pill ideas. And there's also the fact that gender roles are changing in our society. Women are taking the masculine and taking positions where they're running in their masculine energy, where they're not allowing themselves to be feminine, and that is something that ruins society. Because at the end of the day, women cannot be masculine, even though they can function somehow in masculine energy. It runs opposite to what they actually are good at, which is their feminine energy. So instead of fixing society by allowing these women to take masculine roles and control and do all these things, letting the men keep their masculine and the women keep their feminine helps with regards to that. And the reality is, wherever you come from in this views, wherever you stand, whether it's the red pill views or the blue pill, you have to look at the world. You have to see how these views speak to the human heart, because they align with reality, they align with biology, they align with our psychology, they align with who we are, and they make life better. But yeah, I simply wanted to talk about that subject. I simply just wanted to open up with that subject. It is an interesting topic, and there's a lot to be said about it. I can't include everything in this video, but I would encourage you to keep watching my videos for the next time I share something.